Alrighty, y'all. Hello and welcome. There's a topic we know quite a bit about when it comes to the automotive world here in America, especially here in the U.S. Hell, even Canada and Mexico too. That would be muscle cars, of course. That is like one of the identities of the U.S. in the car world, I would say. Love them or hate them, even though I think most people secretly love them. I mean, the sound of a V8 rumbling, especially when we're talking about these old cars from the 60s, the 70s, it's one of the most invigorating sensations as a car guy. It is just amazing. Muscle cars are just fun. They're really fun. They're good to look at. They're good to listen to. And they're just mean machines. Now, what's interesting is on this channel, I learned years ago that Australia has quite a bit of muscle car culture. Actually, Australia and New Zealand. And Australia even made their own muscle cars. So there is definitely such a thing as Australian muscle in the automotive world. And now I've been suggested many times over the last couple months that Europe even, believe it or not, has muscle cars. Of course, we think of exotic cars coming out of Europe. We think of sports cars, really economical hatchbacks and station wagons, diesel cars, a lot of different things Europe does better than a lot of other places, especially here in the U.S. But muscle cars is not what I would think of first coming out of Europe, but these are 10 muscle cars that did come from Europe, and I'm really excited to see this. Of course, if you disagree with this list, you gotta let me know. Tell me some other muscle cars from Europe or flat out interesting cars that we miss here. I'm all ears. There's tons to learn about and lots more coming up, so stay tuned. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. I'm actually gonna go full screen. Why the hell not? And voila, 10 muscle cars, all 10 European muscle cars that put America to shame. Wow. Sounds interesting to me. Although traditional muscle cars have from the U.S., here are some unlikely heroes from Europe that just might rival them. And I don't know what we have in the picture here, but I like it already. It looks pretty freaking awesome. Of course, we know the formula for your typical muscle car here in the U.S. Large displacement V8s, intermediate platform, 2 doors. Oh, and of course, rear-wheel drive. That should be obvious as well. So starting with number 10, we have 72 to 89. There was a vehicle called the Tomaso Longchamp. Now, I've heard of Tomaso. The only one I've heard of is the Tomaso. I think it's called the Pantera, right? And I actually can't tell you much about that car. It was kind of exotic looking. And I believe it was from the 70s. This is a Tomaso Longchamp. And sure enough, it does kind of have muscle car qualities here. We have the long front end, a long hood, right? That you definitely see, dominating the bottom of your view from the driver's seat. So that checks out. 2-door, kind of a fastback look a little bit. I mean, we can't really get a good look of the side rear profile there. But this shared a platform with the Maserati Kyalami. That's an interesting car. Never heard of that either. Although with a shorter wheelbase to accommodate the coupe styling, or coupe, sorry if I say that wrong. We say coupe over here in the U.S. Unlike the Maserati, the Longchamp got its power from a Ford 351 cubic inch, the good old Ford 351, we know that motor. The 351 Cleveland, to be exact. Not the Windsor, but the Cleveland V8. This is also the same engine that the Tomaso utilized for the legendary Pantera. Okay, gotcha. I thought I do remember hearing that Pantera used a Ford motor. So that's kind of cool. This is a proper muscle car then. 351 Cleveland, rear-wheel drive, 2-door. I kind of like that. Let me look up more pictures of this. So if we look up more pictures, oh yeah, look at that. Yo, that is actually hella cool. I have never heard of this thing, by the way, in my life. I really dig it. You know what's cool is it does indeed remind me of a proper muscle car, but it somehow looks European, as it should. It looks European. It doesn't look American. How cool is that? I think that's kind of neat, discovering cars that are muscular, but they're not American. Yeah, look at that. How rare are these? I imagine they're pretty rare. If anyone's ever seen one of these, ridden them, owned them, let me know. We even have a proper muscle car interior, at least in my eyes. Look at these bucket seats. We got the shifter down here. And all your gauges kind of driver focused here with this classic steering wheel. Yeah, I'm digging this for sure, dude. Look at that thing. That's actually pretty awesome. There's a proper look at the front and the rear of one of these things. Wow. All right, and then moving on, we have the 1972 to 74, so pretty rare, only 3 model years, the Monica 560. I have never heard of this in my life either, never heard of that brand or anything. This is a proper 4-door muscle car. Yeah, it says typically most muscle cars are 2 doors, but of course exceptions do occur, and yes, there are definitely 4-door muscle cars as well. I mean, even modern day, right? Dodge loves to promote the Charger Hellcat, SRT Charger, all these different things, right? They're muscle cars, but they're 4 doors, of course. Granted, I know the classic Charger from the 60s and 70s is 2-door. Anyway, the Monica 560 was a lesser-known French luxury car that was built in low volume from 72 through 74. Powering the Monica was a Chrysler 340, mated to a torque flight automatic or a ZF 5-speed manual. How freaking awesome, dude. Top speed of 150. That's actually really fast for the era. Monica 560 was touted as the world's fastest sedan? What? What is this gem? I've never heard of it. No wonder. It's hella rare. 40 units ever produced. Look at that thing. It's gorgeous. And it is muscular, especially with these wheels. Again, long front end. Kind of that swooping roof to the rear of the car. Transition there. Swooping back end. It's got the right proportions, even being a 4-door. It's almost kind of like got a like a coupe profile, even though it is a 4-door. It doesn't look like a boring sedan. This is cool. I imagine these fetch a lot of coin. Let's just say that. Okay, and then we have the 80s with the Rover SD1, and the late 70s actually. Now, I've been told to look at Rovers, and I don't know anything about them. It's still on my to-do list. But I tell you what, I think this might be one of the vehicles I've seen in some emergency vehicle videos, like an old police car or perhaps was made out of one of these. I actually really like this. It says the Rover SD1 might be the closest example of a European muscle car in existence, mostly because it's the only car in this list that didn't come with an insanely high price tag. For most Europeans, reasonably priced cars offering V8s didn't exist, especially in countries that saw buyers paying taxes on engine displacement. Yeah, see, that's the thing about that I've learned is that's why muscle cars aren't insanely popular in Europe, because it's just not practical with all the just taxes involved with, of course, fuel, high engine displacement, that type of thing. So I get it. But the fact that there are some gems out there is really cool. Even so, the Rover SD1 was heralded as many as a muscle car because of its 3.5-liter V8. That's kind of cool. It is actually derived from an earlier design by Buick. The SD1 was also popular with British police forces. See? I knew it. We saw it in an old, like a parade of old British emergency vehicles. That's really cool. And you know what? I really dig this thing. I really dig it. Again, doesn't look American at all, but it does look muscular. And it doesn't look like a sedan. If you like didn't pay attention to the doors, you'd think it was a muscle car. So the fact that it hides the 4 doors in there is actually kind of cool. I really dig this. It's definitely not ugly, but I wouldn't even call it pretty either. It's kind of weird looking. I just like it. It works. This is a cool car, dude. Then we have the Monteverdi 375 high speed. Again, another vehicle I've never heard of. This is awesome as well. Long nose. I love the vents everywhere. I don't know if they're real or for aesthetics, but they're pretty cool. I'm leaning towards they probably do have some sort of a function on older cars. I mean, older cars usually had that. Nowadays is where you have all like the fake aesthetic things. This is actually really neat. This is a Swiss car. Are you serious? What? I did not even know that. This is a Swiss muscle car. How freaking cool is that? This one looks indeed like a muscle car with a touch of class. It looks classy as well. And how freaking epic is this? These could be had with one of the best engines ever. I'm a Mopar guy at heart. Remember this. Indeed, you could get a Chrysler 440 big block in this puppy. Okay, sign me up for this. Hell yes. Then we have a 6972 Aston Martin DBS V8. Now, I actually don't know much about Aston Martin when it comes to history and stuff, but I do know modern Aston Martins, they just look gorgeous. Whenever I've seen them in person, my jaw drops. I think they're absolutely works of art. They're beautiful. These old ones, though, really, really same level. I mean, these must have been jaw-dropping back in the day compared to, most cars from 1969, for example. These are really cool, and these are for sure muscle cars. I'm not surprised to see Aston Martins on here. They are very muscular. They do deal with big engines, growling V8s, right? And of course, two-door coupes. You even have a hood scoop on this thing. This is definitely a muscle car. I love it. Then we have a Jensen Interceptor. I've heard this name maybe in like random auctions or something, but I couldn't picture it if you asked me this 5 minutes ago. But now that I see it, I don't really recognize it, but I recognize the name. But there it is. It's kind of weird, kind of a weird shape, actually. It's not my favorite design, but it's cool. It's still unique, and it definitely is European. It doesn't look American, but I like the wheels, and even it has a white letter B of Goodrich's on it. It fits the muscle car theme perfectly. I do like the front end of it. This back here isn't my favorite. I guess it's not my favorite design when it comes to this. I guess this would be what, like a B pillar or C pillar back here. And then the windows, it's just a little bizarre looking, kind of busy, I guess. And the way it falls kind of flat down here. But yeah, it's a unique vehicle, and it's definitely a muscle car. What the heck is this? A Bizzarini 5300 GT? Damn, is this even a muscle car? It's a cool car. I mean, I do like it. I would almost call this more of an exotic or like a Grand Tourer. So I'm not going to necessarily agree with all these, and you have to tell me in the comments, of course, the same if you agree or disagree with some of these. I'm assuming this had a V8, right? Yeah, it did. It had a Chevy 327, so it had an excellent V8. But I don't know if this would be a muscle car. Then we have an Aston Martin V8 Vantage from the late 70s in through the 80s. Now, this might be the most, dare I say, like American-esque muscle car on the list. I'm surprised to see that from Aston Martin. But, I mean, look at it up here. This looks like a Mustang almost in front. I like it. I hope that doesn't offend. I'm not saying it looks like a Mustang as a whole. It doesn't. It definitely looks European. But this front end, they really took some strong muscle car cues for this. Front engine, V8, rear-wheel drive. That's, of course, definitely checks all the boxes. But the way the hood rakes down, and they have this grill, big grill with the lights in the middle, and then, of course, the headlights on the outside here. Very, like, Shelby-esque Mustang. I like this a lot. This looks like a proper muscle car with a European flair. It's really cool, actually. An AMG Hammer. Oh, you know what? Why didn't I think of Mercedes? Of course, Mercedes are muscle cars. Those are German muscle cars, right? I mean, come on. They are. They're really cool. They have big V8s that just sound awesome. They usually sound like really deep and mean, although like kind of muted usually compared to like, some American muscle cars, but they're definitely muscular in my opinion. So yeah, honestly, I'd say it goes beyond this. There's a lot of Mercedes that are kind of, muscle car vibe at the very least. This thing is crazy though. This is a 5.6 liter M117 V8. And this thing did over 190 miles per hour. I mean, at that point, you're almost running into supercar territory. Most muscle cars aren't going that fast on the top end. And at number 1, we have an ISO Grifo. I probably said that completely wrong. An ISO Grifo, maybe? I don't know. Never heard of it, never seen it. This definitely was a car we saw at the top, though, for the cover of this article. And actually, it looks pretty cool. I would say, again, it's almost on the edge of Grand Tourer, muscle car, but I mean, they're similar anyway. Of course, we have a small block 327 from GM in this. You could even get, let's see, an L71 427 or a 454. That's actually kind of crazy. You could also pair this with a ZF 5-speed transmission. So, of course, a manual and a big block V8. I mean, how are you not having fun in this vehicle? At a high top speed as well. This thing is awesome. When we're talking big blocks, in this kind of, it looks like a smaller car. Almost borderline, let's say, dangerous, but I bet this thing was hella fun. So this might be one of the funnest cars on this list. Well, that's it. Those are a peek at 10 arguably muscle cars coming out of Europe. Now, I would love to hear your opinion on this, and of course, just what are your thoughts on muscle cars in general? That's the beauty of being a car guy, at least an open-minded one like I am. I do love big trucks, here in America. I love muscle cars with big engines here. But you know what? At the same time, I love a lot of different motorsports disciplines. I love many cars I've learned about, and I've had a lot of different cars. And I'm someone that is very aware that you can have just as much fun, if not more, in a small, 1.5 liter hatchback with a manual and good tires and brakes or something, right? So I'm aware that there's many ways, to peel an orange when it comes to the automotive scene. But yeah, what are some of your favorite V8s and of course muscle cars, be it Australian, European, American, wherever, right? I would love to hear it. This was really, really cool, and I thought it was finally time to do this, and of course spin this off to learning about more individual vehicles, as I've been doing a lot more lately. So I hope to see you in those videos as well, and I do appreciate all the suggestions and help I've been getting. It's really, really cool, guys. I appreciate you watching as well. I hope you had a great weekend. My name is Ian. You're watching IWrocker. Until next time, y'all. Catch you later.